Hello, I'm Michael. I teach saxophone at Sage Music. Today we're going to talk about cleaning your saxophone, which is an unfortunately often overlooked aspect of one's practice routine. So there are a bunch of reasons you want to clean your instrument every time you're done playing it. Some of those are if you don't clean, you're going to get sticky keys and you're going to have trouble controlling notes. A common problem is if a saxophonist tries to play a G sharp, mine's working properly here because I clean my saxophone all the time. You can see G sharp opening when I hit this pinky key. If you don't clean your saxophone, what often happens is this G sharp stays shut. Mine is staying shut because I have an old horn with a outdated G sharp trill key. But this would stay shut, and when you go to play a G sharp, you'd play a G natural, and you'd be playing the wrong note. It's an embarrassing mistake to make. So at best, you'll lose control of your instrument. At worst, you can actually get really sick if you leave your saxophone to just sit there with all the condensation, all the spit, all the bacteria that forms inside the instrument. So you want to clean that every single time. So it's good to do that in a systematic way, which we'll talk about now. So assuming you've already taken your reed off, you can unscrew the neck. Notice how I grabbed that kind of towards the end of the neck, never by the mouthpiece. Don't yank up, don't yank down. You want to clean the neck, which people forget about. You clean it as one piece, the mouthpiece and the neck like this. That's what I like to do. You can do it separately as well. You want to use a dedicated neck swab. Do not use your body swab for this because it will get stuck or fling your mouthpiece off and break it. We're not going to do that today. So you're going to take the end. It's usually some kind of string or weight. Guide that through the neck first. Or if you're doing the parts separately, through the wide end of the neck. And hold the mouthpiece secure so there's no chance of it flying out. Pull that through a few times until it's dry. I've already done this before, so I only need to do it once. If you want to do it separately, that's fine. It's just the same step. Through the shank, out the window, and you're good. You want to put your ligature and your mouthpiece cap back on to protect the tip of the mouthpiece and to keep your ligature from being crushed. You're going to put those back in the case, as well as the neck that I just put away. So, okay, you've cleaned the neck. You're a step ahead of the game already. I'm going to take the body swab, which is the larger swab that typically has a weight on it. This one's by Boston Sax Shop. It happens to have 2 poles on it. Yours might just have one. One is enough. Whichever one you have, you're going to drop the weight through the bell. Allow all the string to pull up at the bottom of the horn. And then we're guiding the weight out the top of the horn. So imagine where the weight is. Shake it out, guide it out the other end. And then you're just going to pull the swab through to dry out the inside of the instrument. Now if you have the single pull, you're just going to have to do that a few times. If you have the double pull like I do, you get to do this fun flossing motion, which doesn't look as slick on camera as I was hoping it would, but here you go. Pull that through a few times. Don't have to guide it out every single time if you've got the double. If you do have the single, you'll just repeat until it's dry. So usually 2 to 3 times is sufficient. Put that back in its case. And even if you just did that, you'd be in pretty good shape for saxophone maintenance and taking care of your instrument. You've avoided all the health concerns because your instrument is now clean. Good job. But I like to go even farther. I like to clean underneath every single key. I like to clean every pad, make sure it's dry. The reason I like to do that is it prolongs pad life, which means you don't have to get repairs. You can see I've got custom pads here, so I want to keep those nice and shiny and sealing perfectly. So that's one reason I like to go and clean all of those. Keeps them from being sticky, so avoiding that sticky G sharp like we were talking about. The swab helps a bit, but there's still a chance of G sharp sticking without cleaning under every pad. So the tool I like to use for that is Spit Sponge by Key Leaves. This is my favorite tool for this that I've found. And it's got two sides, a skinny or a small side and a big side for your small and big pads of the horn. And I go from top to bottom, so I typically start with actually I like to do my side E, but if you're gonna go top to bottom, you can start with your F, or if your horn has it, an F sharp. This one doesn't, because it's from 1930. So you open up the pad. The yellow side should face the leather pad. Just let the key close, and you're just gonna drag it out. Don't add any extra force. That's enough, and you're just gonna do that until it's silent when you open the key. I might like to do that a few more times, but I'll do that off camera and spare you having to watch that. So those are for any of the keys that open, like with a lever, let's say. And yes, I would go down every single one. Don't forget to get your octave key pip here on the side. You can, I'm doing this with the incorrect hand, but you can play a octave G to open that up. I'm highlighting this one specifically because people forget about it, sometimes don't even know it exists. That being said, it's not a bad idea to do the one in your neck either, which I did almost forget about. Anyway, so I'd go down the whole horn. Those are for any that are closed, and then a spring, or then you open them with a lever and the spring closes them again. For the ones that are open, like your main BAG, FED, low C, all those, they're open already. So you're gonna take, here, I'll do a larger, slightly larger one. Maybe not. This is more awkward to do on camera than I thought. Okay, I'll do a small one. Way up here, I'm gonna slide underneath the key. There's a lot of hardware there. I don't know if you can even see that. But I've slid it underneath the key again, yellow side facing up. Close the pad, just with as much force as necessary to close the pad. You don't need to squeeze it to death. And you would do that down every single pad on the horn until you end with your low B flat. So let's say I did all that, as I know you will. Some people consider this an extra step. For me, it's necessary. I use the Key Leaves, key props, using a lot of Key Leaves product. It's because I trust them. You're gonna open up your low E flat. So this was resting closed, and if we just let it sit like that in the case, you can imagine where all the moisture accumulates in the horn. If that just stays there, the leather pad is closed. This is often one of the first ones to be replaced when you're getting your horn repaired. before these came about, I would always have a rotten, like a literally rotten leather underneath the E flat pad because it was just really tough to keep clean. Now it air dries, and I've had these pads for about 2 years and they still look brand new. So, and they feel brand new. So you're gonna open up your E flat, and then you're gonna open up your low C sharp, because your C sharp is connected to your G sharp. It prevents a sticky C sharp and it prevents a sticky G sharp we were talking about earlier. So each horn's a little bit, well, not each horn, but my horn's a little bit different than yours might be, since it's a very old horn. So you may have tone holes on the right of the horn, on the left. I have both. Modern horn's going to be pretty much all on the right. So, but anyway, you may have different mechanisms keeping those open, but the basic idea is the same. You're going to prop open both your E flat, your C sharp. I'm not touching the leather itself. I'm just opening up the key arms in this case to get those open. So those are going to air dry. I'd be happy with that. Just about done. You probably use your end plug to cover that up. I have a fancy one here, which is also a bit of a shock absorber. This one's key leaves as well. Surprise, surprise. But you might have stopped there if you just have the basic end plug. You might have the end plug with the shock absorber. You might have a different kind. I also happen to have the vent vine, which is essentially what the key leaves are, but for your palm keys. So I'm gonna open up palm E, or sorry, side E. Someday I will, anyway. Okay, that took a little while. Apologies. Then I go to E flat, or F, that is. Now it's E flat. And with palm D. These are custom, so if you have a horn with an F sharp on it, you'll have an extra note to deal with. That is, if you went this far in the video in the first place. So now you're done. If you want to wipe the outside, you can use a microfiber cloth just to polish the outside. It's not necessary for keeping it clean or just keeping it, I mean, really all that does is make it look nice. So you pack the horn back in its case and you'd be done. Now every once in a while, your mouthpiece will start to accumulate. You can kind of see it here. I don't know if it's showing up on camera so well, but there are some little white spots near the beak of the mouthpiece. You can kind of see it here. These are calcium deposits. They're normal from just playing. It's the calcium left behind. That can start to stick on the inside of your mouthpiece and change the dimensions of the mouthpiece. Plus it just doesn't look that nice when it really starts to accumulate. So the way to fix that, do this about every month or so. Take some white vinegar, like a 1-to-1 white vinegar tap water solution, and you'll just soak your mouthpiece for about 5 minutes. That's all you need. Use cool water, don't use hot water, that can discolor the mouthpiece. When that's done, I would take it out, wipe it with a microfiber cloth again, probably a different one than you used to wipe the outside of your horn with, and put everything away. And you'll have a clean instrument that works and you won't get sick. Thanks for watching. Happy practicing.